right. So I am Michelle Donovan. I am here with Country Music Magazine, and we are speaking with Struggle Jennings today. So, just a little bit. Oh my gosh, it's so
How you doing? So good to be here.
yes, so excited to have you. So let's get started off. I know Struggle was not the name you were given at birth.
Mhm.
How did you come up with that name as your stage name, so to speak?
Well, it was kind of given to me. I
Okay.
mean, I'd been going through a lot and had just came home from about a year-long jail sentence, and I was in my early 20s and single dad with two kids, and the mother of my kids was fighting a federal charge, and I just had overcome a bunch already at that point in my life. And a friend of mine was like, "Man, you ought to go by Struggle." And, at first I was like, okay, well, I don't know. And then it just kind of stuck and people started calling me that. And
Kind of embrace what life had thrown at you.
yeah, and some people were kind of like, well, you're burning bread on your name because you're kind of calling the struggle on. And I'm like, no, I want to make it, I want to keep working to show that you can overcome the struggles. And everybody struggles with something. And I wanted to embody that in my music and my story and my testimony.
Exactly. I
Here we are 20 some years later, and I'm still calling me struggle.
yeah. So, but you've overcome and you've shown that even though you can start off with adversity and everything, that you can overcome it and you can turn everything around.
Yeah, you can, and it's possible for anybody. I put my jeans on the same way as everybody else, and no better than anybody. And a lot was thrown at me, and I brought a lot on myself. And when you learn to turn those what you think are obstacles into opportunities, and learn from everything, make the best out of it. I just want to show people that you can do that and that it's possible.
Yeah. My life motto is you got to find the silver lining in every storm cloud.
Because it's there.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes it's
you know,
hard to find, but it's there.
well, especially amongst the rain, right? It's hard
Oh
to
yeah.
see through the storm. And for a long time, there were a lot of things that I felt were tragedies, but a lot of those tragedies ended up being my biggest blessings.
Oh yeah.
Taught me the most, gave me more to write about, gave me more to speak about, and more to show people that anything's possible.
I learned that, you know what, God's timing is not my timing.
No,
And
not at all.
I've learned that the things that like I thought were major roadblocks were really just his protection.
Yeah, every time,
Yep.
every time.
So
Amen to that.
yes, most definitely. So I know that you and Jelly Roll are friends, and
Mhm.
Jelly Roll has, some of the same story he's had a lot of struggles starting and everything. And I know y'all have done some collaborations. How did all of that come about?
Well, we met when we were, I think he was fresh 18, 19. I was 22, 23. And we actually met. He was out selling his CD and he was hosting a freestyle battle because he was like the freestyle king and,
Okay.
of Nashville for sure. And I was out promoting a show that I was doing and selling my CD. We met, connected I think that same night, went over and listened to some records and just, started off with him coming over to do a song and we became best friends. And here we are 20 some years later, still doing music together and still just pushing along.
Yeah. Like I said, you guys both have, such amazing stories of how, you've overcome and look where y'all have made it to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Inspiration. What an inspiration both of y'all are, to young people and really anyone that's just walked through struggles. And it's like, you don't have to stay there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he was a big inspiration when I was doing my big, because I did a pretty hefty prison sentence, and this last time, and he was out sleeping in vans, doing shows, and it was a big inspiration seeing him actually happening for him. You
Mhm.
know, and because we had done music before I went away together, and neither one of us had made a dime off of it. It cost us more to get to the show than we were actually making at the show. And there wasn't like streaming and stuff back then. So there was, you had to get out and sell those CDs out of your trunk.
Yeah, to really
So
have.
seeing it actually unroll and happen for him, and even now, with the height of his success now, and he's one of the biggest stars on the face of the planet. It's still an inspiration. It keeps me motivated daily.
Oh yeah. I love his how humble he is. Even
Yeah.
with even with his success that has come, so really it appears rapidly, but it really wasn't. There was a lot of
Oh
hustle
no.
on the back end. And I know the same for you. There was a lot of hustle before things started turning around. I think that's one of the we miss a lot with artists. It feels like, oh, they just blew up and froze. Are we back? Okay, everything froze for a minute.
It's a long hustle and a long grind for some of us, and they do. A lot of people are like, oh, Jelly came out of nowhere, and it was like, no, Jelly was everywhere for a long time, putting in work before he came out of nowhere. Like, um, and it's been the same for me. I'm still in that phase where I'm still, you know, putting these boots to pavement and putting the work in daily, and a lot of it goes unseen, and then when it does all really take off, then it'll be like, oh, Struggle was an overnight success, and it's like, yeah, it was a lot of nights for that overnight success.
Exactly. So I know you started your own record label, Angels and Outlaws. So I know you were with a label prior to that. So what made you want to start your own label?
Well, I got a little bit of taste of the record label industry, and I wanted, at the time I was just independent and I didn't really have a situation, but I was doing really good independently. And so I wanted to make, there's a handful of artists that I really believed in, including my own daughter, right? And I just wanted to give them a home and help them lift up and build a career. And because it's hard when, like Caitlin Curtis was working at a car lot, a single mom. She didn't have anybody backing her. There were months she couldn't afford studio time, right? Just paying the bills. So uh, I wanted to give a platform, some financial aid, some help building their brand and some direction. Just kind of teach people that I believe in what I've learned. Because I've made all the mistakes you can make in the business and continue to keep making them, right? New ones. So it's like it's a big learning process, and if you don't have somebody kind of guiding you or there to show you or really have your back, you'll get swallowed up. And so I wanted to make a situation. I wanted to make a situation that was artist friendly and that would lend to the artist and just help give some people a career.
Yeah, I love that. I think that sometimes that's definitely lost with a lot of bigger labels, just like you see with any large corporation.
Yeah, there's not much artist development anymore. They kind of wait on you to go viral or have your moment, and then they'll put a little bit of money behind it. And if you can back it up, then they'll put some big money behind it. I've danced with the labels, and I don't knock what the record labels do or anybody that's signed to a label. Like if that's everybody has a different level of what they're shooting for. Everybody has different dreams. Uh, I think I just really love being independent, and I guess I just haven't found the right partner yet
Mhm.
that would allow me to be me, do it
Right.
exactly the way I'm going to do it, uh, and put the right backing behind it, without taking it all, So, labels have their purpose. If that's your place and that's where you want to go in your career, you want the stadiums and you want radio and you want those big billboards. A lot of times you have to go with a label.
Right.
But, there's also so much to be said about just doing things yourself and doing it your own way and paving a path. And I may not have as many fans as some people on a label, but my fans are ride or die.
Right.
They've been sticking with me, and they'll go through anything. And uh, sometimes people go to labels and uh, it changes their artistry or um, and I'm cool where I'm at, and I'm excited for this next couple of years. I've got 5 or 6 albums already finished.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
writing. I'm actually leaving you in a second to write with an incredible writer that uh, wrote some huge records, and I'm really happy about. I'm excited about today. So
Cool.
just staying in the process. I'm constantly either recording or writing or doing shows. So just working and paying the bills.
Yeah. I think we're seeing a big trend right now with a lot of indie artists and those independent artists that are really making a name for themselves. And I
Yeah.
think it's really cool to see.
Well, as they say, everything that was once old is new to the next, right? So um, it's like I see a big wave of people getting back to the music. There's a lot going on right now with like AI and all this generated stuff that people are using and implementing, and I understand that. Like, it's just not for me. I'd rather strip it all the way back down to the grassroots and just tell my stories and um, do it the way they used to do it.
Right. AI has its place, but let's just keep music, music.
Yeah, amen.
So I know you've done a lot of collaborations. I was looking over, and you have collaborated with a lot of people. But I'm really curious on you did a collaboration with your mom and your daughter.
Yeah.
How did that come about? That had to be very special to you.
Yeah, so I first started collaborating with my daughter. She had always walked around the house singing, but she was nervous and wouldn't really sing for me.
Mhm.
And one time I called her and was like, "Hey, I got this song. I really need you to come sing background vocals." And first time she stepped in a real studio as an adult and started recording, uh, the song hit #1 on blues charts, and it ended up being a collaboration that we did, and we did a whole EP behind it. Just so I grew up with my mom playing pianos and writing songs, and so I always, of course, wanted to do something with my mother. And so as soon as I had a little bit of extra money, as soon as I started making money, I was like, "Well, let's do an album, Mom." So we did Spiritual Warfare. She's a gospel singer, and so we made that a gospel rap collab and did 5 songs that were just me and her in the studio writing and recording. And then I wrote the song Ace in the Hole, and I actually had my daughter, my mom, and my grandma Jessie come in and sing on it. And that was one of the most special moments. And we drove out in a van to Arizona, shot the video,
Okay.
and just, you can get all the accolades, you can get all the, you know, records on the wall and all the stuff, but it's little things like that mean the most.
Yeah. Well, you've collabed with several of your family.
Oh yeah, yeah. My uncle Shooter, we've got stuff. Me and my cousin Way have done some stuff.
With Way.
Yeah, yeah, and we're actually about to do a movie together. Me
Oh,
and Way and Shooter. Yeah,
cool.
I'm just getting the details now, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty big film and really
Definitely
cool.
let me know, and we'll have to get back on a call or
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you know.
chat about
Yeah,
it.
and my uncle Shooter just produced an album on me that'll be coming out next year.
Okay.
So super excited about that because me and him have been talking about that for 2 decades, and for it to finally come to transition or finally come to fruition. And with me taking the plunge into country last year, and just I'd always mixed the two genres and blended them and sang country hooks on some of my stuff and sampled country records and put country instruments in my hip hop music. My heart had been pulling me to country for over 10 years.
In your DNA.
Yeah, there's a little of that coursing through these veins for sure.
So I always ask artists, who is on your bucket list to collab with? Like I said, I know you've collabed with a lot of people. Is there anybody left on your bucket list that you're like, man, if I could just collab with them, that would be awesome?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, if I was to say #1 person that I would love to collab with, that's still breathing, is definitely George Strait.
Okay.
I love Chris Stapleton, his writing and his voice, of course. But and then there's some other guys that are coming up right now, like Charlie Crockett. I was just with him the other night, and I just love his authenticity and what he stands for. So definitely going to try to make that happen at some point. it's a little bit more difficult when you're an independent artist to reach some of these people, but you just got to keep making noise, and if it's God's meant will, then it's going to happen regardless.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Also been listening to the Red Clay Strays a lot lately, and I really love them. So there's a bunch of, I could sit here and probably name 30 artists that I would love to collab with. But if I was to say anybody that's still breathing, that uh, it would be George Strait.
Well, hopefully maybe George will hear this and he'll reach.
Yeah, I've actually been writing with Bob DiPiero a lot, who wrote uh, with George Strait and wrote for George Strait, and um, a couple other writers that have wrote stuff on his, because I've got an album coming out. I'm doing the Brian Martin project right now that's releasing 1976, and I'll talk about that in a second. But then I've got an album coming out in the fall called Last Name. It's a solo album, and then I've got the Shooter album and another album that's like just straight old school country, and that's really where my heart's at.
Okay.
Last Name is like straight country, a lot of songs that would crush on country radio. Uh, and it was kind of like my dive into just, I want to make something that feels me and blends a little bit of the two worlds, but is authentic to country.
Yeah.
And it was produced by Ned Cameron. It's amazing. So I'm excited about that album coming out. There's a lot of songs that are near and dear to my heart. But I've been writing with a lot of old writers lately. So I've got this old school country album that'll be coming out next year that to me is some of the truest uh, views into my heart and soul.
Okay. Well, you kind of answered my next question because my next question was, what is next for you? And
Yeah.
answered all of that. So,
Well, and I also have another rap album coming out. I was moving all the way into country and kind of felt like I was being put in a box. Like you got to let go of rap to be accepted in country. And then Brantley Gilbert looked at me and he was like, Bubba, you can't forget to dance with the girl that brought you to the party.
yeah.
And I got a lot of rap fans out there that have held on to my music for a long time, and it's got them through a lot of their hardships and
Mhm.
pains and struggles. And so I've got another rap album that I've been working on that is it's beautiful, and it's gonna be fun.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. You can't forget those fans that started with you. Uh,
Yeah.
you can keep those fans and then you just bring on new ones that are in the country world.
Yeah.
So, one last question for you. I know you have a writing session to get to. There is one thing that you could tell your fans that you would really want them to know about you. What would that be?
Tell my fans I would probably just want to tell them how much I appreciate them. A lot of people said that I'd never make it as far as I have. A lot of people said I could never mix country and rap and it ever go anywhere. And I kind of sparked a whole genre. And because of that, because of the fans having my back,
Mhm.
I'm able to do what I do today. I've got kids that were in foster care when I came home from prison, lost the mother of my kids to a drug overdose. Um, been through a lot of things that could have stopped me or turned me in a different direction. But it's because of the fans and my responsibility to show them that they could do it too, or that whatever they're going through in life, they can overcome. That responsibility every day has kept me straight. And if it wasn't for the fans, God knows where I'd be. And I can say the same about my kids and my wife and my family and friends. But the fans have given me more than I can give them back. And I just keep making music and staying true to myself in hopes that I can give them back what they've given me.
Okay, awesome. So, well, we're going to end it there, but definitely keep me posted on all the new stuff, and
I will.
we'll
Yeah,
get.
we just dropped a single, "Don't Play Your Games." Me and Brian Martin. It's off of our EP that comes out in September 1976. Tell them all to go and stream, stream, stream. We're independent and we're pushing hard, and making music that's true to ourselves, and I know it's true to a lot of people out there.
They can find that on all streaming platforms.
All platforms. Don't play your game. Struggle Jennings and Brian Martin.
Y'all heard it straight from Struggle. Y'all
Yeah.
go download his new single. So we will let you go
Thank
and
you, Michelle.
be talking soon. You have
Yeah.
a great one and can't wait to hear all the new stuff.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
You too, man. Bye.